Hello and welcome to another Board Crazy, well, not a review, but this is a Board Crazy analysis, thoughts.
Our thoughts, introspection. We're going to get a little existential.
Probably not. Anyway, I'm D. That is...
Hi, everyone. I'm Will.
Yep. As Will.
Oh, shoot. Watson. Watson.
Sure. Anyway, we are going to be giving some thoughts today on Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, a game which we played a case of this past week. If you haven't seen that, there should be a link to that in the description below. You can watch us, just the best detectives of all time, solving a case.
That's hyperbolic. We're the second best of all time.
So there's no intro to this game, because our recording of it was rather impromptu. So it was just,
Yeah, and if you're interested in seeing how it plays, all you have to do is watch our gameplay. But even then, it's not 100% necessary. Basically, all you do in this game is read, and then go to the next point and read, and then you start to build leads, and you can get a score for doing it in the fewest amount of
we get a score for answering questions right now,
exactly.
Hopefully doing it quickly. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. We did the Banker's Quietus, which is case 7.
Yes.
It was about an accountant who got murdered, and there's no motive or suspects at all. The police have no idea who did it.
There's a possible motive. So I guess we should mention, this is a kind of game where it's kind of you can only play it once, really, as an individual. So if you do watch our video, there will probably be spoilers in this video here as well. You could not really play the Banker's Quietus so much. Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to a game like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective here. It's a one-time deal. That being said, I don't think it's bad value. You do get 10 whole cases here, which can last you couple hours if you're...
Yeah, I went online out of curiosity just to see what the average play time was for other playthroughs, and it seemed like we did it, ours was like 50-something minutes, well then it's edited, but still, it seems like some people have 2-3 hour gameplay videos per case.
Gameplays, or like videos, maybe. Most of the times when I play at home, it takes longer. I think, honestly, not to make excuses for us, but I think the fact that we were kind of, recording, we didn't want the video to be, 90 minutes, 2 hours long.
And also because we knew that a lot of it would just be us reading and thinking.
We were maybe a little bit less patient than we would have otherwise been. We can talk about the case itself here, but I guess it's just worth mentioning. I played the first 6 cases by myself at home as a solo game. This was Will's first experience with Consulting Detective.
So it's a different perspective, experience versus inexperience.
Yeah. In my experience, again, maybe it's just working with someone else was a bit different for me. I don't know. I did feel like this particular case was maybe a little bit more challenging.
Probably makes sense given that it's later.
Intuitive, at least, as far as the leads you should follow. As you go further and further into the game, there are so many more things that you could have to keep track of because of the newspapers, which I think today we can get them out here. They're really cool.
Yeah.
So you get a new newspaper for each case for the date of that case.
Why don't you give them to me? I can kind of...
Yeah, and not only do you use the new newspaper, but you can also reference all of the old newspapers as well to look for clues and whatnot.
And I personally, from an inexperienced standpoint, think that's brilliant. That this game's not just like, it's not just a series, it's not like a procedural detective show.
No.
It's not like CSI, a new case every time. This is like a season where it builds
the same world.
Yeah, like this is definitely an ongoing narrative.
And so each paper is double-sided. It's just one sheet double-sided, but there's a lot of information on there. And if you really want to be thorough and make sure you're not missing any possible clues related to this case, you can go back and just constantly reread all of them.
Love the attention to the detail in this game. The little advertisements that probably most of the time have nothing to do with...
as far as I can tell, never.
But how cool is that? And it looks like there's obituaries, there is births, marriages. It really does feel like an old London Times newspaper. And I think it's... of all the components, the newspapers, I kind of had this desire to go back and just read through the old ones.
Oh yeah, there's some good stuff in there. Even the stuff that's completely irrelevant. There's kind of amusing just to read their stories of the day. There's even one in there that references our neck of the woods here in America, randomly enough, which is Why
don't we talk about the Banker's Quietus?
Okay.
Specifically a little bit, just because we've talked a little bit broadly. So I don't know if all the cases are like this, but I really liked the setup. You have a person murdered, beaten to death in their office. And I was like, oh, that's a little bit generic. And at first I was like, I feel like I've want to not play with your pen while I'm talking. If I have to be the adult, I will. I liked because it was a little generic at first. Oh, dead guy in his office. It actually reminded me of something similar that happened in a D&D game you ran for us, where someone died in their office and we had to do like an investigation.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You actually know. You should know what I'm talking about. You were the DM.
Took me a second there, but yes.
And it was like, eerily similar. And I was like, oh, maybe maybe for that reason it felt cliche to me. But then the more we got into it, we found out that this guy's an accountant and he works for the Bank of England, but he's working for the Treasury to. Trying to control interest rates and like doing an investigation into, missing securities and all this stuff. And then the more you get into it, the more you realize that this guy was into some stuff.
Yeah. Like I said in the video, it has a plot point that is lifted pretty much straight up from an actual Sherlock Holmes story, which is unusual.
And yet you didn't pick up on it.
I did pick up on it. I just thought it was, couldn't possibly be going there. But that is where they went with it. So it is what it is. But so yeah, it's not the easiest case, and I don't know. I wouldn't call it necessarily my favorite either, but it was fine. I guess it's hard for you to compare.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. When you say that to me, I'm like,
you got no reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are other ones that I have been a bit more intrigued by.
I appreciate the nuance and realism though. That this guy is in this really serious financial situation with not some. He's not losing money or stealing money, but he's looking into stuff like that, and you're like, man, that has to be why. And then there's this whole stuff with the statues, and it's like, what did he hide in the statues? And then we were on the right track with the statues, and for some reason Evanson and Co. stuck out to me in the newspaper. There was a break-in a few nights before, and I was like, this, because he lived not. And then you can use the map, and we looked on the map, and the gift shop wasn't far from his home, and I just love that the game gives you the option to think, does it have to do with his work as a banker, or does it have to do, is it just completely arbitrary, is it completely random?
Yeah.
Or is it sort of random for him, but by design for the people, the perpetrators? I can see how playing this on your own could be beneficial in the sense that you don't have someone else to guide you.
This is one of my favorite solo games. Yeah. I love playing this game by myself. No outside influence. I can just sort of sit and think for a couple hours about a little mystery. And typically speaking, I've had a good record of at least figuring out the correct suspect, if not doing it quickly or getting all the periphery. But this is a really good solo game. I think, as a two-player experience, it's a little different.
Because you know what type of game this reminds me of? A choose-your-own-adventure game.
Well, yeah, no.
I've seen some people say it's similar to the exit games and an escape room. I would say it's more similar to a choose-your-own-adventure in the sense that what I like is that the game doesn't literally give you option A, option B, choose one.
Oh yeah.
It's literally go anywhere you want.
This is real open-ended.
Yeah, truly open world. It's you
have all these locations you can use. You have the directory. Obviously, only some of them will actually be in the casebook for you to investigate clues, but.
It really is the closest thing I think I've experienced to a true open world game where you can go anywhere. And obviously there's confines of London, but you can pretty much go anywhere you want to, wherever the case takes you. And I just thought that was really cool. But I can see how choose your own adventure sort of can go bad when you have more than one person. Now this game's for 1 to 8 players.
Yeah, you're gonna
playing it with 8 would be
that would be ridiculous.
Impossible.
I wouldn't want to do that.
You couldn't compile the information. Most people online seem to agree that this game actually plays best with 2. It's the ultimate couples mystery game.
I could see it being good as a couples game, yes. Yeah. I personally I love it as a solo game as well.
Because then you have complete and utter control.
Yeah, exactly.
But Holmes and Watson, they work as
but this isn't Holmes and Watson, it's your own thing.
Let's talk about a few things we may not like about the game. I can think of one real quick.
Okay.
If you don't mind me going. So someone said, we have a commenter on our gameplay video who... she said that she didn't like that the game felt like homework sometimes. And I get what she's... If you're someone who doesn't like a lot of reading
this is obviously
and taking notes and... I thought sometimes there was a lot of writing just for someone to say, look, I like the guy, sorry I can't help you. It felt like it was almost scripted like a movie or a TV show or even a novel where they had the time to have a scene like that and it means something. But... in this, it just felt like sometimes it would have been great if it was just all that was written down was you went to this place and the guy said, sorry, can't help you.
Well, I think in some cases it's maybe they're introducing red herrings, or maybe there is an important detail that may not seem important at the time, that they might drop casually.
I guess I'm just annoyed we spent 90 minutes reading mostly useless information.
It happens.
And I could see how someone could play this one or two cases in this game and be like turned off by that. And I think it's something.
This game's not going to be for everybody. That's for sure. There's a lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of thinking. And honestly, like, I'm not to sound like snobbish or anything, but I mean, at a certain point.
I mean, let's be real. You are a prude and a snob, but
it helps to have a measure of intelligence to succeed at this game. I think would be fair to say.
Okay, sure. I think I get what now you do sound like a prude.
No, yeah, no.
I would say the word patience is more important.
Perhaps, but
because I feel like it didn't necessarily take that much intellect for us to, now that I know the outcome of this case, for us to have found that. It would have just taken patience and being willing to go to the leads and do all the reading.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Like, there's...
Memorization's more important than...
There's references to, like, British culture and stuff that.
Yeah.
You might encounter, like... even like the stuff in the case we just did with like all like the banking stuff is going to probably fly over a lot of people's heads.
Yeah, it flew over mine. Yeah. I didn't know what half the crap he was talking about.
Yeah.
Securities and I know some of that stuff, but my point is that a lot of that stuff I don't know if you need to know exactly what it means. Like from that was one of the longest sections of reading we did. What you really needed to get from that was there was a certain amount they were supposed to pay and they paid out more and there's money missing. Yeah. That you could have got regardless if you knew what the terms were. So I think the game does a good job of framing it so that an intelligent person could read it and get a lot from it, and then even, a layman like me could read it and still feel, compelled and still get the clues necessary to move you on in the case. But yes, I would agree that this is not a game for a casual person. This is not a game for someone who, likes Clue as their version of deduction. This is not Clue.
This is not that. The game itself is actually quite simple as far as like what you have to do.
Yeah, but I mean in the sense that
it's hard.
The attention span it requires is heavier than even some of the more...
And like getting 100 points is ridiculously difficult. I mean, the closest I've gotten is 90, which was back on the second case.
I thought that was a little frustrating when you were describing how good Sherlock is, and it's like...
Well, it's Sherlock Holmes. Best in the world.
I know, but it's at the same time...
But he's beatable. You can get more than 100 points on a case if you're really doing well.
I don't know. It just feels like sometimes the game's just like trying to be like, nah, you're not as good as him.
That's not the point. You're
just a street boy.
It's a matter of trying to just do as well as you can. That's another thing. If you care just like a lot about like winning and beating the game, this may not be the one for you either because it will humble you in all likelihood. I do like the way that all the cases are slightly different in terms of what you need to do to solve them. All of them really use at least the most recent newspaper in my experience. Not all of them use the older newspapers though. Some of them you have to use the map like you did in this one, kind of like, oh, that makes sense. This is near this. Could someone get to this place in the time they're talking about, something like that. I really like that how sometimes you do have to use the map and even just like follow streets. Does this make sense? Does this path, in this route or whatever.
Yeah, or like with Mabel Brown, she wasn't in the directory as Mabel Brown, but we found out that she lived on Devonshire, and you're like, we can't go to Devonshire. That's a whole different county. What? And I was like, well, maybe. Then you said maybe it's a road, and then I looked and. Yeah, like lo and behold, it's somewhere up here. It is a road.
That's another thing.
And we were able to find out that it's actually, she's listed under her husband's name.
That's another thing that I like about this. Sometimes you have to sort of use some extra thinking when you're using the directory because people are sometimes not under they're under someone else's name or something like that.
And I thought that was actually also good because, how do I put this sensitively? So the 1890s, London wouldn't have been the most politically correct time.
No.
So women wouldn't have been listed most likely that much in directories. It would have been their husbands
alone.
And even and then throughout the story, that often women are referred to as Mrs. Edward Fillmore. I don't know. That's a president, I think. No, it's not Millard Fillmore. I know. Okay, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. So like, I was like, wow, like they even sacrificed some like level of political correctness just to, make this game really like it's really immersed in its era. And that I found to be really cool.
It's very immersive. The writing is generally very good. I have encountered the occasional typo, which can be disastrous in a game like this if you're not paying attention. Like,
this says while. Everyone knows the British use the word whilst.
No, nothing like that.
Oh, okay.
Another thing...
no Oxford comma.
Well, I don't know about that.
Throw it out the window.
Only other thing, I do occasionally get frustrated by the fact that everything is confined to, this center of London. In this game.
That is the world, dude.
There are occasional references to characters being or leaving or going, to other, nearby areas, and it would be, I think, cool if it were possible to have situations where you can go investigate people outside of the city. A lot of my favorite Sherlock Holmes mysteries are set outside of London. Almost all of my favorites are set outside of London. So yeah, it'd be cool if that was...
Yeah, I like my favorite Sherlock goes to camp. And what?
I'm not going to dignify that. But as it is, they still make very good use of the map, because there are some permanent permanent locations. All the red ones are always the same. But the yellow ones can change from case to case as far as who lives there, just because
there's only so much room.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Anything else you want to say about Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, no. This is. Again, this is. I love this game. I'm having a blast with it. I can't wait to do the last few cases. I don't know if we'll be recording any of those, but. Even if we don't, if I do finish, when I finish the game, we maybe get back together and I can maybe give some more thoughts.
Maybe give a score.
Give a score.
Because we're not going to give a score. I can't give a score. I only played one case, so.
Yeah.
But I will say that the Banker's Quietus, as a case, I enjoyed. We didn't even do well, and I still enjoyed it. And again, that's going to not be for everyone.
Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't my favorite. I mean, there's one that I really liked where it's just you don't even talk to Sherlock in the beginning. He's has a note for you, hey, there's a weird story in the newspaper.
Go check it out.
Figure it out. Yeah, and you go and go from there. And I thought that was a lot of fun. But yeah, still
enjoyable.
Great game. If the gameplay video makes it look like something you would enjoy, I would stop watching that video and go get this. It's not.
I agree.
Outrageously expensive. And this is a more modern printing of it. This game originally came out in '81, so it is quite old. But
holds up.
This newer version is very well made, I think. Anyway. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and click the notification bell so you can get notified as soon as all of our videos are released. You can also check out our social media. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are all linked to in the description below. And you can come back this Friday for our next Lord Crazy Plays video, where we'll be taking care of some furry friends.
Yeah.
Graham should be back, so that's good news. We miss him.
Let's not exaggerate.
All right, fine. We don't miss him.
No.
But until then, everybody, thank you again for watching. Goodbye.
Yep. See you next time.